innovation. I gave it a little bit of thought because the topic was really innovation, sustainable innovation, and I think I first want to start with sustainable innovation, and then I want to say a few words about a really disruptive innovation, because I think it's a really different ballgame. I think if you look now, innovation, the speed of innovation this year today is just amazing. And of course, I mean, innovation in my mind, you have to think about it like a kind of an exponential thing. It's not like linear. I mean, if you do 30 steps linear, okay, you went 30 meters. But if you do 30 steps exponential, of course, you have a billion steps further. And that's a little bit how this innovation speed in technology works. And also, of course, this has an impact on many companies because, and probably also difficult to sustain, because if you look back in the 30s, the average lifespan of an S&P company in the US was 75 years. Today it's only 15 years. You look at all these companies which are emerging, like Facebook, like Google, and these companies, Facebook just had 10 years, Google 15 years old, very, very young. Other companies which disappeared within 3 years, Nokia, gone. BlackBerry, gone. Kodak, I mean, Kodak was a huge company, gone. So, speed, very important. Same thing is true actually in hearing aids. Speed is extremely important, and you also see that, okay, this is a little bit an extreme, but speed is extremely important. 20, 30 years ago, there were 200 hearing aid companies, only 6 left. The others were just too slow. That's the way it is. So, we talked a lot about technology, because I like to talk about technology, but on the other hand, it's not just about technology. I mean, I'm pretty convinced there's many other things which are actually even more important. Lots of things are changing. The healthcare, the cost is tremendously under pressure, so you have to have innovative solutions there. The business models, they change all the time. I mean, this kind of forward, backwards integration, it's happening constantly to make it. And of course, the end customer, I mean, things are changing very, very quickly, the environment. So the question is how to survive. And I think that innovation, it's not just predicting it, the future. It's very difficult. But it's really how can you survive it? How can you adapt there? So, put a few things on there. How to cope with this kind of sustainable innovation, and what you kind of can do to survive in the environment. I think first thing, and I think that's probably the most important thing, always build on your strengths. Never build on weaknesses. That's not work. Build on your strengths. Second thing is go to the customer, and that's a difficult one because you have to define which is your customer. Is that a B2B customer or a B2C customer? What is that exactly? I think you have to have a system in place in a company to embrace this kind of change. You have to be open to it because otherwise it will not work. Increasing failure is also an important one. You have to be accepting failure because otherwise you will not be successful in the future also with the thing and change behavior. So just go a little bit more in detail there. Build everything you do on your heritage, on your strengths. And think for instance about Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland, if they would promote Switzerland, they would promote probably the Matterhorn, or they would promote chocolate or whatever, because that's where the strength is. We also do that. In our company we do the same thing. We have been surviving in this environment, we were within the still doing companies, by actually focusing on 2 things. The first thing was we focused on children, pediatric. And why? Well, there were a number of things, because we said the 200 companies, we do not want to all the same, so we are focusing on children. It's a small market, but it's okay. And it has a lot of characteristics which are interesting, because the children, they also always work with ENT doctors, the best ones there are. They always you have to make them the instruments very reliable. You have to have a very high service, because the child cannot go without any hearing instrument, and. So there's a lot of very good things. And also, you, of course, because the market is smaller, per country, you're very quickly into an international scene, emerging countries, very important. Because for the child, I mean, there's always money. For the 80 years old, much more difficult. So that's one thing. And then, of course, we had another one, which was done to very severe to profound people. Pretty much the same, technically very challenging. So we were building up the brand because you're working with these kind of things. And communication devices, and internet, very important. And of course also the cochlear implant market is an interesting thing. So we have a lot of these kind of strengths, and we try to build everything we do on these kind of strengths. The second thing, also building on strengths, we have been having a very disciplined platform approach. So we are developing platforms. These are huge investments, and that normally takes 3 to 4 years. So that's microelectronics, that's software, that's all kind of things. But once we have that platform, we are very quick in fast product cycles. So every 3 to 6 months we have a development cycle, a new product. Very important. We do it over all form factors because there are many. I mean, in hearing aid, a company today has 100, 150 different models, but we are able to make them within 3 to 6 months. All price points, from low to high, all hearing kind of losses, and also multi-brand. That's possible. And the result of that kind of strategy and kind of development is that we are able to. We have 80% of our turnover are with products with less than 2 years old. Extremely fast. Now, of course, that is all very nice. It's also the reason why, by the way, why this high innovation rate was the reason why we have been, why we're now #1 in the industry, because that was kind of valued in the market. It also has a little bit of a danger, of course, if you gamble on this one. The flip side of it is that if we miss it, if we miss, for instance, one of these platforms for technical reasons or for whatever reasons, then of course we suffer. Then we have a problem. Okay. The other thing is start with the customer. I think that's a very interesting one as well. And this is, you have then to define what is your customer. Is it a B2B or a B2C customer? Well, these are 2 examples out of the hearing industry where in the beginning, of course, the customer was nowhere. Or if he was there, it was a B2B, and now we're getting much more into the kind of B2C kind of experience. But the other interesting thing is, think about an example which you all know, Nokia and iPhone. Why did Nokia lose? And it's very interesting to see that Nokia lost because they never put in a Wi-Fi in the phone. And why didn't they put a Wi-Fi in? Because they wanted to protect the telecom provider. Because that was their customer. So if you take the data away from that customer, of course you take revenue away from that provider. Not good. Apple, they say, okay, I'm going to discuss with the end customer and put in Wi-Fi. And if you put in Wi-Fi, you can of course have all these nice applications. So this is one of the main reasons, I believe, why iPhone won it big time over Nokia. Just have to look at this time. I'm running out. So this one, maybe just a few words. This is not, I think here the point is really to say that we have discussed lots about innovation in the technical field. There is many more, I think, much more on the marketing side. And things, for instance, which will change a lot is things like Google and Facebook. I mean, you can be this, if you have a niche product, you can extremely focus on certain groups in a very cost-effective way. I mean, we have been making, for instance, headsets for aviation. Very easy to market those. You just go to Facebook and you say every pilot which is on Facebook, or we have seen our pilot which is living 50 kilometers in the region of Zurich, will get our publicity. Very cheap to get it. You get it very pointed. Very interesting. This is also one, I think, discussed failure. I have a product from ourselves that's failed in the market. It was the best in the market. We forgot just that we didn't have too much focus on it, and we didn't have a good distribution. So, but it's okay. You just have to learn from it. And next time, do it differently. And one of the things which next time we will do is we will probably make a new company out of it, if we have such a great idea, and make a dedicated group, and let them run with it. And if they can live or die with it, it's okay. But then just have to focus on it. Behavior. Innovation is about behavior. It's not about technology. I mentioned this example already. 24 hours, is that possible? Well, we thought it was not possible. But you can. You just have to think about all technology. And to be honest, in this case, this was not done in our company. This was a startup in the US, which then we bought. But these people, they were just thinking out of the box. Think out of the box. They had all technology, it doesn't really matter. They just made it with a new set of parameters, and they had a new value proposition, new business model. Worked very well. Perfect. So I think this is really, I think, if I have to think about sustainable innovation, this is what I would do. Maybe even more important than that is create an environment where you can really do that, and kind of an empowerment. So I think that the management style and attitude is very important. Discuss these things already a bit. You really have to be very open and open-minded to these kind of things. I think also, if you do not have in your genes in your company that this is the paranormal will survive, is the quote from one of the founders of Intel. I think it's very true in innovation. Be open, and also accept that you're not only the organization is not always the best to have these ideas. So if you see somewhere else these ideas, integrate them into the organization. Organization, I think it's. I mean, what we try to do is we try to send out our people very often to the markets. We discuss a lot with technology providers to get the best technology. Review, we do in a very systematic way technologies and roadmaps. And we frequently meet every 3 months. We sit together with the senior management team and do this. Innovation workshops, obviously, all these kind of things. And for the sake of time, we won't just do that. Environment, I think that's also one which is, to me, is very important. Be very open there, communicate. We do a lot. We celebrate also big time successes. So every time we have, and it's a success, we celebrate. And it's very, very, very limited that you really show this kind of innovation style. A few words about disruptive innovation. I think that's totally different. I think that, and we would have as a company much more difficulty to act to that. Disruptive innovation, because it could come out of a totally different corner. And most of the time it comes when you have something very inferior, very low cost, for a totally different customer base. So you could have in the healthcare, you could for instance have there a thing like self-fitting. Today you would say, oh, that will not work. And so you would maybe do that in a very specific environment. But I mean, if it works, then of course you have a problem. Pharmaceutical is another thing. Probably today, if you would have a pill, it would probably be much less effective than the hearing aid, but if it comes, well, we would be in trouble as a company. And I think I leave this for the sake of time, because there is, for those who are interested, last month there was the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. They showed the 5 most disruptive technologies which they believed are going to happen. Maybe just quickly, sensors is a big thing. Wearables on the Internet of You, so collecting all kind of data. Another one is everything that has to do with energy. We will discuss it, I think, in the panel as well a little bit. The solar kind of things, it's coming big time. The driverless vehicles is to be one. I think that's for us not really relevant. But then another one could be very relevant for us. That is these kind of immersive interfaces, so the kind of the Google glasses and gesture control and those kind of things. So there are so for us, they call this the 5 most important. Okay, I'm over time.